We're here for our latest episode of the SIJHL Weekly Report with Laker coach Wayne Strachan. How are you today, Wayne?
Good, Jay. How are you?
Good. Can you talk about the two games this week? I know you weren't at the one game, but can you talk about the two games, the two losses this week?
Well, both, I guess, tough for our confidence or our morale, and I wasn't with the team on Tuesday, unfortunately, but watched the game on Hockey TV and thought that we played a strong game. Probably controlled most of the play and had that lead, I guess, again going into the third, and just couldn't find that killer instinct to finish it off, and obviously let Thunder Bay battle back, and then eventually win the hockey game in overtime, and but progress I think has been made in really the last four hockey games leading up to our final game last night in regular season, and so a lot of things are going in the right direction, but we still have to get over that hurdle or that hump of closing out hockey games in the third period and finding a way to win them. And last night's another perfect example. Played strong against a very good Dryden team, and good teams find ways to win. And again, we had the lead going into the third, 2-1, and even the third period we started off on a positive note in working hard and battling with them, and then just a couple breakdowns and a couple opportunities they get to put the puck to the net, and I guess iced the game for them, and they worked hard in the third. They pressured us. They gave us havoc in our own zone where we needed to be a little more patient, I think, and read the ice a little better and work a little harder to get the pucks out. And again, it's tough one to swallow, but like I said, I think the last four games of the season, the intensity we had and how we played was a lot closer to playoff hockey and what we're going to need starting next week, and so we'll take that as a positive. We just we played probably good enough to win the last three games. We just have to find a way to do that.
And that's exactly like your 2-4 record for March doesn't really reflect of how you guys are playing, because three of those games are only one goal losses, right?
Yeah, and the last three games, if you look at it, we had leads going into the third, and I guess that's the big stumbling block right there, and that's what makes it tougher. Is in two of the three for sure, we were the team that was probably better on the ice and deserved to win. And last night we had to battle and proved ourselves that we could compete with Dryden, and we did that. And so we're gonna obviously not happy with the losses or how things turned out, but we got to look at the positive things and take those into stride and motivate ourselves for game one, most likely Tuesday night against whomever our opponent is. We won't know until later tonight.
And that's exactly it. Like I talked to Dylan Cooner, veteran, after Tuesday's game, and he said to me, he goes, they thought they played a good game, but they need to learn to play with the lead, and with the playoffs around the corner, they need to tighten up your own zone and sacrifice a little bit more as a team.
For sure, and we have some young guys that haven't truly bought into the Laker way, and what we're about, and we preach about it, and it just doesn't seem to sink in with some of them. And but now at this time of the year, we're going to need to rely on our leaders and for them to lead the way, and the guys that have been a part of Junior A playoff hockey and what it takes to have success at this level. And a guy like Dylan's been around for 2 championships already, and a couple Dudley Hewitt Cups, and the guys from last year as well have seen what it takes, and even if they weren't a big part of what took place on the ice, or even if they were in the stands watching, they still watched what our team went through and had to endure through the playoffs to gain that success. So we're going to rely on them, and we got to hope that the young guys can follow their lead and help the cause.
And like you say, you won't know until later today whether it's the Norskies or the Miners meeting you, like you say, in the Survivor Series. But with both teams, you've gone 5-6 with the Norskies and 4-6 against the Miners. So either team is going to be a tough best of 5, isn't it?
For sure, and we know that looking ahead, after the game, we're looking at what the scenario would be if we play the Miners or Thief River, and when it comes down to it, I think we beat the Norskies in the series, and we lost to the Miners. And with the Norskies, each and every game out of I believe the 11 we played them, were hard-fought battles from both teams in a tight series and a good series, and you have to suspect that it's going to only continue to be that. And with the Miners, they had our number early on, and through the second half, we started to play them a little tighter and a little stronger, and so. I guess that's good to see on our part, and hopefully gives us some confidence to go in to play either one of them, and see what we can do. It's game by game now, and it's really in our hands and in our control what we want to do in those games and how far we want to go into the playoffs now.
Now, this one here, like I say, we're always talking about the team, but this one here, I guess, talking about you for a minute, and with you haven't in the last 3 seasons, you guys have been the champions underneath you as a coach, and for yourself, you haven't seen 5th place since 2009, 2010. Is that just frustrating when it comes from a coach's point of view?
Yeah, it's been a little bit frustrating throughout the whole year, and I guess I've kind of searched and looked for ways to reach certain guys on the team and have them buy in, and probably at the beginning of the season when I knew we were a little complacent, I probably should have been a little harder on the guys and made them realize the path they were going down, and not only on the ice but off the ice as well. And I wasn't. And if you kind of look back at as amount of moves we made and whatnot, I didn't really think that we needed to make a lot. I thought that our veterans would fall into place where we thought they could step up from last year's team, and I thought our young guys would mature into what we needed them to be, and now looking at things, we probably would have did some things a little different, but you can't go back and change what's taken place, and now we just have to be positive And is there things I would have liked to done different? Sure. Am I frustrated where we're at now? For sure. And but these, it's not solely on the team. Is I have to take some of the blame, and we fought adversity throughout the whole year with injuries and trying to piece together lineups and show up for games and compete. And on some nights we were there, on some nights we had a rough time. And but we're here now, and yeah, we're in fifth, but the playoffs are a different story. And if we can definitely rise up to the challenge, and I think we've done a good job in the last couple of weeks in playing Thunder Bay and Dryden tough in 4 hockey games. So I think we've kind of realized what it's going to take now. We just have to make that next step and come together even tighter as a team and take one game at a time. Like I said, we'll work in 5-minute segments throughout each period, and if we can win or tie those segments, we put ourselves in good shape to have success at the end of the game.
And exactly, and everybody says in every sport, the playoffs is a new beast, especially in hockey, and it doesn't mean, like you say, the last 3 years you've hoisted the cup at the end of the playoffs, and going into playoffs in fifth doesn't mean that you can't hoist that cup at the end to head back to the Dudley, right?
Oh, absolutely, and it happens all the time in any sport. And if you look at the LA Kings, they've had a lot of success, and they never finished first, or I believe even the last Stanley Cup they won, they might have been in the 7th or 8th seed. So it's a matter of putting things together at the right time, working for your bounces, having each and every guy realize their role and contribute it, and you got to get good goaltending, and your goalie has to win you some hockey games through the playoffs. And if the things are on the right foot and things are going your way, you never know what can happen.
Exactly, and then your goalies have been there and they've been in it, and there's I guess say goalies that are new to this when it comes to, like, say, fighting and battling for the number one spot, but anything can happen, right?
For sure, and we can't point any blame. We live and die as a team, and our goalies have played good enough lately to give us the opportunity to be in hockey games and win hockey games, and we just have to find a way to limit breakdowns in our zone or limit our opposing teams' grading opportunities. And if we can shut the door in that way and maybe pay the price a little more in helping our goaltenders, we'll see what happens.
Well, thank you very much, Wayne. And people check the Junior Hockey Network for the Laker preview against either the Norskies and the Miners this week. And good luck going into the Survivor Series, Wayne.
Thanks a lot, Jay.